there, welcome back. This is the final video of the week. I was going to do a video I'm going to do next week, which was about Michael Crichton books being into films. Because I try and do at least one video a week about kind of more pulpy subjects, because to balance out from doing like something like a Bresson movie. So this week I did Zemeckis things, but I actually kind of wanted to, because I do the Daisuke Beppu live stream thing where I comment as he talks about a film. Last week they talked about Picnic at Hanging Rock, and I was involved in the live stream a little bit, but I was kind of tired, so I never really felt I got much of the grips with anything. I made a few comments, but I watched the film and really enjoyed it, and then by the time the live stream happened I was tired and I felt I was kind of going at half speed at it really. So I thought I'd do a video about it that might be more interesting than me just feeling like I should have said more. Because I don't like, when those videos, when he's doing the videos, I don't like to try and put tons of comments into the comments in the live stream, because I try and give everyone space to make their comments too. So, but this one I felt I didn't make as much as I probably would have if I was less tired. If that makes sense. So anyway, Picnic at Hanging Rock's Peter Weir's second film, I think. It followed the Cars 8 Paris, and this was the big art house film of the mid-70s. I actually thought it was released in the late 70s, but it turns out it was the mid-70s. It got a lot of the great reviews. A lot of critics loved it. It was exported overseas, and it became like the big example of Australian films coming to America, and it's going to dominate because it's so arty. The same way that every so often a British film does well, and they say the British are coming and then we disappear for 5 years. You know, it's much more a film was popular from a country and that was it. You know, don't make announcements about that. It usually goes bad. You need like 3 or 4 films to do well before you can really say it's a movement. And that's why, I mean, Peter Weir did other films like Last Wave and Gallipoli before moving on to make like non-Australian films in America, like Witness and Mosquito Coast and things like that, and Truman Show. So he did move on, but Australian art house stuff had a few big films in it, kind of fell away. And as you see in my other videos, I did exploitation videos a few weeks ago, and a lot of them had dominated from Australia, just like in the world, any other industry, you know, that's popular. Most of the industry goes towards exploitation. A lot of those films I never remembered again, but that's where most industries go to because they're easier to get financing for. But anyway, back to Picnic at Hanging Rock. This is a beautiful film. This is really well done. What's really great about it is the way it views humans. Now, the story is very simple. There's this school, private school in 1901 with all these girls. You know, the girls are rich, they've all got money, their parents have money, they go to this school to learn good manners, to become girls in society and get a good husband and be married and, you know, be good mothers basically. They're getting taught basic information, but they're not getting taught anything to be independent. They're being taught to become part of society, be part of the system. So it doesn't matter if you're rebellious, doesn't matter if you've got a brain, you're getting taught to be a wife. That's it. That's all your ambition should be. That's what this society is trying to promote to anyone who's rich. Is like, know your place, be a wife, that's it. And this school is like a training camp for that, you know. They don't have Lee Ermey from Full Metal Jacket yelling at the girls to be pretty or anything, but Rachel Roberts plays the headmistress, and she's got that same feel of someone who's brutal. Your parents pay me for do this, and that's what I'm going to do. And any teacher out of line, she'll stamp on them. You're here to learn how to be young women. You're here to learn how to sew. You're here to learn a bit of the Bible, but not much, just enough to get by. You're here to learn basic facts, bit geography, stuff like that, but you're not here to be independent. Then they go to a trip at Hanging Rock, which is nearby. This big rock is nearby, for an afternoon, have a picnic there. That's one of the school outings. And during this time, 4 girls, 3 students and 1 teacher disappear. And no one can find them. Eventually one of them's found, but she can't remember what happened. And that's the story. We were never told what happened to the other girls. Were they runaways? Were they murdered? No one knows. There's a suggestion that one of them, Miranda, is pretty rebellious, so who knows what she would have done. There's another girl who also... So the girls that went by themselves around the Hanging Rock were, you know, generally the more rebellious ones, the more independent-minded ones. So no one's quite sure, did they just leave the school? Or something happened to them? One of the teachers went to look for them and she disappeared as well. And she was viewed as one of the more intelligent teachers. So it doesn't tell you, you're left hanging with the mystery of it. Sort of like in The Vanishing, where the mysteries dominate people's minds and lives. They can't quite get beyond. There's something here. You just have to know what the hell happened. And this film doesn't tell you what happened. It's like the mystery is the main point. And they got the right person, Peter Weir, to do that, because he fills the first half with such atmosphere and such portent of something. Even if you don't know what it is. Is it supernatural? Is it your mind playing games on you to make it feel there's something supernatural there? It's just the way the rock formations are. It could be that it affects your mind to make you think there's something more there than there actually is. Because they're very impressive rocks and very atmospheric, but is that all there is, or is there something more, or is it just the way the geography affects your brain, a primitive human brain? No one knows, but Peter Weir really goes for the atmosphere, the music, floating through the situation. The idea of these girls who are just on the verge of being women, and what do they want, and you're never quite sure what they want. What do they need from life? Did they die? Did they just go away? What happened? No one ever knows. And he just fills that mystery as something that you need to have answered, but you can never have answered. Because no matter what the answer was, it would be disappointing. And he's aware of that, so he fills this atmosphere in the first half of the movie so that when you never get the answer, it's not disappointing. It just feels like, yeah, that's the end, and it should be. That's the way this film should be. And he views humans, and he has moments where humans are viewed almost like animals or ants in the landscape. Because at one point, one of them mentions how when they get to the top of the Hanging Rock, they look down at their schoolmates and look down and see these. They feel ants to them because they're so far away. And you see people looking at animals and looking at each other. People are so focused on society, they're tribal. It's like, are you a worker? Are you a rich person? It's almost like a tribe. If you're in a tribe, you have to act like the tribe behaves. So the girls have been sent to school to learn how their tribe behaves. The guys who are workers for them know what their tribe is and how they should behave, how polite they have to be in certain social circles, even though in the reality of them in their lives beyond that, they're much more rougher. But they know that's a tribe they have to be with, and that's a tribe they're serving, so they have to behave in a certain way. And this film, just the way it's shot, shows the tensions of the tribalism and the expectations. So these teachers to the girls seem very imposing, but actually they're terrified of losing their clients, so they need a good reputation. So they're actually serving the tribe rather than they're serving the higher classes, but they don't like to admit it. So that this whole atmosphere of beauty and culture is just a service to a higher class who want to believe that's what humanity is. And everyone else is getting paid to support that view. So it becomes this whole idea of repression of anything beyond that view of the world you have. So the girl disappearing is almost like an insult to that. Like, this should not happen to these kind of girls. This should not happen to our kind of life. And it just collapses everybody. Like, there's a young man who's a rich man who finds one of the girls, who finds a girl that's one of the girls is missing. And he's always obsessed by it. He doesn't know why he's obsessed. He just saw them once as they passed by, and he's obsessed with finding them. He doesn't know why. His whole world is cracked open. He doesn't quite work out what's going on. He's got a pal who's a servant, But he gets on with him more than he does anyone in his class. And this guy is very important to the film because he's attached to every class in the world, basically, as a servant. And even though he's a more realistic view of life, he gets sucked into the obsession of his pal. And he's the one that actually goes and finds the clues to where this guy found the girl, and they end up getting the girl out. And it just becomes this mutual obsession that develops into the whole society. The whole society becomes obsessed with finding these girls, the police, the press. And the more the press arrive, the more the school gets famous for what happened, and more people are just pulling their kids out of the school. So the school just starts to collapse. So this serving mechanism for this class just collapses because there's nothing to support it beyond this shared fantasy of that's the way the world works. And once it's been destroyed by one simple act of these girls disappearing, there's nothing to support it. There's nothing, no logical timber below what they've assumed life is to support any disaster. So it just crumbles. In a way that the more realistic characters can accept life as life goes on, tragedies happen. People who are more susceptible to this belief in this lie are the most economically tied to that. They're the ones who get damaged. Like the school teachers leave. They can no longer stand being in the school. There's an orphan who basically relies on the goodwill of the school to be taught there. But once all the other kids are starting to leave because of the tragedy, they can't support her, so she'll get sent back to the orphanage. So she becomes a victim of this class society and their charity being pulled away. The head teacher, who's this fearsome character at the beginning, resorts to drink, and her society just collapses because she has no support mechanism. The teacher who supported her most is left. Her view of the world has collapsed because she has invested so much in this view of the world. This way of thinking is the way the society will keep going. And it's just trashed by the disappearance of the girls. So it's a beautiful film, but it's also a really interesting film about tribalism and fantasy of what the world is. Because the whole thing about the being invested in this disappearance, it's a fantasy. You're investing so much and you have no real facts to back it up. You're just obsessed with something because you want to know what happened. Like we all do about any kind of mystery, you kind of want to know what happened. Why do you want to know? Because it's a mystery. You don't have any emotional impact of, you never know the people half the time. Just the mystery just becomes more interesting in your daily life because it's something unique and out with your daily existence. So it becomes this fantasy. And even the guys try to find the girls, it's something for them, it's a fantasy, it's something beyond their normal life. It's not going to deliver anything to them, even if they find any girls. The one girl they find can't remember anything. And it just becomes makes the fantasy worse. They found her, so they add more questions rather than answering any questions. And she becomes ostracised from her former friends because she doesn't remember what happened. And they're all cruel to her, they all go mad on her. They just start, what happened? Because they were panicking about it, and there's no answer. It's just these tribes of people all panicking because the apple cart's been upset. So that's Pink Hanging Rock. It's a wonderful film. It's beautifully shot, score's beautiful, it's terrifically acted, and it's about mystery. It always being a mystery, it's about the effect of a mystery. That's why it's important, because answering a mystery would have taken away the impact of the effects of the mystery. So not knowing what happened is the thing that supports the investigation of the fallout from what happened. So that's what makes it such a beguiling film. It keeps it going years after its release. So it's a wonderful film. I urge you to watch it. So hopefully this will make up for the fact I didn't say much in that live stream because I just was so tired. But so I thought I'd do a video about it. But the films I was supposed to do, the correction ones, I'll do next week. But I hope you enjoyed this. This is the last video of the week, and I'll be back next week with some more videos.